So many times people will dream dreams, but they won't take time to write it down. People will dream dreams and it's in a symbolic language. They won't take time to search a matter out. We can't be afraid to begin to plug into that in which God is saying. The dream given to us is a prophetic command. It is likened unto a prophetic word. We have responsibility. Write the vision, make it plain. We have to begin to take time to study out everything that God's showing to us. The more that we're willing to labor with the tools that He's giving us, the greater the expanse becomes, the greater the wisdom becomes that we might be able to help others. Hebrews 4:2 says, "For we have had the gospel preached to us just as they did, but the message they heard was of no value to them because those who heard it did not combine it with faith." So when we get a dream, we have to combine it with faith. Faith is now. So if you hear me preaching, you might be inspired to do something you've never done. But if you don't respond quickly, you let 4, 5, 7, 10 days pass, that inspiration lifts. Likewise with a dream, if you don't take time to write it down, pray over it, study it, you're going to forget the dream. You're going to forget the prophetic word, and suddenly you're no longer going to have an inspiration to do what it was that God was saying. So does God still speak today? Does God still minister to us in dreams? The answer is yes. We need to look at a couple of scriptures because I believe the moment we begin to discover how God speaks and that God doesn't change in how He's speaking, that it would cause us to begin to look after that in which He is saying and doing in a different mannerism. Because we can all at times grow lazy. We can all be slow to move because we don't understand the value of what God has spoken. It doesn't mean we don't appreciate it. It doesn't mean we don't like it or love it, or doesn't mean we don't want to manifest it. We just didn't know that when God was speaking to us in the dream form, that it was a prophetic word and it needed the same type of diligence. So does God speak this way in dreams today? Let's look at a couple of scriptures and begin to discover how powerful this truth is. What does Malachi chapter 3, verse 6 declare? "For I am the Lord, and I change not." What does this mean? This means that God is not going to vary from what He's done. He is consistent. He is steadfast. So if He spoke to us in dreams in the Old Testament, He speaks to us in the dreams in the New Testament, it is safe to say that He is going to speak to us today in the same mannerisms. He'll speak to us because He's not going to change it. It's a truth. It's an established thing. We see in the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 1, verse 9, "What has been will be again. There is nothing new under the sun." So dreaming is nothing new. Dreaming is a constant and a continuum. It's a continuum. God will continue to give dreams to the man who is willing to understand what He is saying. God will bring dreams to a man who's too busy and he's missing what He's saying. God will bring a dream to a heathen to make known His plans. God will speak to all creation, all that He has poured His Spirit upon all flesh, so they what? Discover God's voice. We see that there is nothing new under the sun. If it was then, it is still now. If it was prevalent and needed and necessary in the days of old, it's prevalent, it's necessary, and it's needed now in today's date. Hebrews 13:8, what does it say? Jesus is the same yesterday, today, and forever. We know that God is a God that changes not. And so the Bible clearly tells us that God speaks through the language of dreams and visions today. The scripture is full of example. History records numerous examples. Here's a historic person. We just celebrated it in the month of January, the 16th. The most famous historic dreamer of all was Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. What did he say? I have a dream, and that dream was shared about, and a nation was transformed. Here's the question. Is God still speaking in dreams and visions today? If so, why are so many people not experiencing them? Let me share a couple reasons as I get ready to conclude. In Job chapter 33, verse 14 and 15, the scripture provides a simple truth, an answer to this. Although God speaks again and again, no one pays attention to what he says. At night, when people are asleep, God speaks in dreams and in visions. We can see this in another translation in the NIV, and it reads this way. For God does speak, now one way, now another, through a man, though a man may not perceive it, in a dream, in a vision of the night. When deep sleep falls on a man as they slumber in their bed, God does all things to a man twice, even 3 times, to turn his soul from the pit, that light of life may shine on his ways. What a powerful analogy. This is what happened to Nebuchadnezzar. This is what happened to Abimelech with Sarah when he took Abraham's wife. This is what happened to Pharaoh. God ministered to him 2 different occasions. 7 fat cows, 7 skinny cows, 7 healthy ears of corn, 7 ugly ones. We saw that the land was plush and the land was desolate. When God begins to do that, it's because he wants to turn the soul of a man from the pit so his light might shine on his ways. So if we begin to pay attention to what God is saying when we sleep, in the form of dreams, we have to take note and begin to make it of great value. We need to begin to write it down. We need to begin to search it out. We need to begin to take it back to prayer and ask God to bring us wisdom, understanding, and interpretation. If we can't interpret it ourselves, wisdom is found in the multitude of counselors. We bring it to trustworthy people that they might help us gain wisdom and understanding of what the Lord is saying to us in our dreams. So the question then is not if God is speaking this way. The question is, are we listening to when he does speak through the language of dreams and vision?